This isn't a PNG, a video, or a design mockup, it's pure HTML and CSS. Today, we'll recreate this premium iridescent glass profile card with realistic frosted glass, dynamic depth, and stunning light refraction effects. By the end of this tutorial, you'll know exactly how it's built. Let's get started. Using only 3 simple files, we'll recreate this premium glass profile card with modern CSS, realistic frosted textures, dynamic depth, and stunning light refraction. Let's get started. Let's begin by creating the basic HTML structure for our project. We'll set up the document, define the language, add the viewport for responsive design, and give the page a title. Once that's done, we'll be ready to start building the interface. Now let's import the interfont from Google Fonts to give the design a clean and modern look. After that, we'll link our external CSS file, where all of the styling and visual effects will be created. Now let's launch the project using Live Server and see our changes in the browser. Now let's build the main structure of our profile card. We start with a hero container that holds the entire layout. Next, we add 2 background orbs to create soft lighting and depth. Inside the card, we create the profile avatar section and display the user's image. Then we add the profile information, including a badge, the user's name, and a short description. Finally, we create the stats section to showcase completed projects and follower count. With the HTML structure complete, everything is now ready for the CSS styling that will transform this simple markup into a premium iridescent glass interface. First, we'll set up our global CSS variables. These include the background gradient and the text colors we'll use throughout the project. This approach keeps our code clean, organized, and easy to maintain. First, we reset the default margin and padding for a clean layout. Then we style the body by adding the background, centering everything on the screen, hiding overflow, and applying the interfont to the entire page. Now we'll create the main hero container that fills the entire screen and keeps the profile card perfectly centered. Next, we'll add 2 background orbs. These aren't just simple circles. They're blurred shapes that create soft ambient lighting, adding depth and making the glass effect look much more realistic. For now, I'm using a temporary image and setting its width to 150 pixels. We'll replace it with the final image later in the tutorial. Now let's style our background orbs. The first orb uses a vibrant pink color, while the second uses a bright cyan tone. We give each orb a different size, position, and animation timing so they move independently, creating a soft, dynamic lighting effect behind the profile card. Next, we'll create the floating animation using CSS keyframes. The orbs slowly move upward, shift slightly to the side, and scale up before returning to their original position. This smooth loop creates a natural, fluid lighting effect in the background. Now it's time to build the main glass card. We start by defining its width, adding generous padding, and applying rounded corners for a modern look. Next, we use CSS Grid to organize the content with consistent spacing between each section. To create the glass effect, we apply a subtle transparent gradient along with a strong backdrop blur and increased saturation. This combination makes the background appear soft while keeping the card vibrant. We then add a semi-transparent border to simulate light reflecting around the edges of the glass. Finally, a combination of outer and inner shadows adds realistic depth and a 3-dimensional appearance. We also enable smooth transitions for future hover effects, giving the entire card a premium and polished feel. Now we'll add the iridescent color layer that gives the glass its unique premium appearance. Using a soft multicolor gradient, we blend subtle shades of pink, cyan, white, and gold across the card. The overlay blend mode allows these colors to interact naturally with the glass surface, creating a realistic light refraction effect. Finally, we'll add a smooth hover animation that slightly lifts the card and brightens its border, making the entire interface feel more responsive and polished. Now we'll enhance the hover effect by updating the gradient overlay. The colors become slightly brighter and the light refraction shifts to a new angle, creating a more dynamic and realistic glass appearance. This subtle change makes the interaction feel smooth, responsive, and much more premium. Now I'll remove the temporary width from the image so we can control it properly using CSS. Next, we'll style the profile image by setting a fixed size, making it perfectly circular, and adding a subtle border that blends with the glass design. We also use Object Fit to keep the image properly cropped. Then we create the profile information layout using CSS Grid, giving each text element consistent spacing for a clean and organized appearance. Now let's style the badge. We keep it aligned to the left, add soft padding and rounded corners, and use a subtle transparent background to match the glass theme. Finally, we apply a bright cyan color, uppercase text, and a thin border to give it a clean, modern look. Now let's style the profile text. We'll make the heading larger and bolder so it stands out as the main focus of the card. Then we'll style the description with a softer text color, a comfortable font size, and increased line spacing to improve readability and create a clean, balanced layout. Next, we'll create the statistics section using a 2-column CSS Grid Layout. A subtle top border separates it from the profile information, while the spacing keeps the design clean and balanced. Each stat item is also arranged with grid, making the numbers and labels easy to read and perfectly aligned. Finally, we'll style the statistics text. The numbers are larger and bolder to draw attention, while the labels use a smaller, muted color to create a clear visual hierarchy and keep the design clean and easy to read. And that's it. Our premium iridescent glass profile card is now complete. Using only HTML and CSS, we've created realistic frosted glass, dynamic lighting, and smooth interactive effects. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check the source code in the description. Thanks for watching.